Okay.
All right.
Uh,
So now we have to be serious.
Now we have to be serious. Yeah. I think Christina joined us as well. Welcome to our final 2016 webinar with a bit of a frosty backdrop. And yeah, hopefully, I don't know if we have any new people, but anyway, thank you for coming. And the main topic today is the fresh release version of 362. And we will not discuss politics. That's the ban. That's legal. Apart from that, we'll see if there are any questions relating to the new release or any other questions on top of that, not related to the new release. I don't know if you do you have any special things you would like to talk about today, Greg, by the way, before I start?
Nothing than as I was saying just a few minutes ago about just enjoying some of the new features. The file size issue for photos, that you could reset it back to, smaller size worked out well. So that was helpful. And I've been utilizing the different label types, so it's made it easier for as of late, because I've been doing a lot of herbarium vouchers, and when we have them annotated, I can have that it has a standard herbarium label and the annotation label, and instead of doing them one by one, I can have them both marked at the same time, and then produce both at the same time.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we'll pop into each of these, and then you can what should we say, sprinkle your wisdom. So
Right.
let's see. Here's the when you start Iris, you can click Help, and you can get version history, and this is the latest features. So what Craig was referring to, we'll do it in reverse order, starting from below. So there was, if anyone has run the process of compressing or reducing the size of the images, there was some. Well, let's put it that way. It's more robust now. There was an issue with the fact that the images actually grew in size. Let's not go into details, but that's the fix anyway. The next point that was introduced is just a few more fields that I don't think is, there are just some new fields. Some people have asked for new fields in the reports. Not very important if you don't need it. So now the third one here is a bit interesting, and that is the donor type. I'm going to spend a few minutes on it. It's a bit sort of obscure, but I think it might be relevant for some, and if it is, it's nice to be told about it. So I'm just going to open up the I have the trial version running here, and so when you record accessions, you typically, I'm going to go to full screen here to get everything. When you record accessions, you typically record the supplier here, whoever that is. Let's say it's this garden here. And then you can also record what kind of donor or this particular contact is, whether it's an individual or a nursery or whatever. Now, that is something that people might forget, or they don't do it for different reasons. But when you go into the actual contact itself, you can also record donor type here under the contact. So I could say that this is obviously a botanic garden. So I'm going to say that that's a botanic garden. Now this looks like a sort of a duplication of information. Why do you want to record this twice? Well, you may have suppliers that are a botanic garden, but have different roles or something in the setting. The reason for getting the material might be different from what the actual donor type, those kind of stories. But anyway, this is how it is. So what this new little feature does here is to copy the donor type recording on the contact over to the accessions if you have it filled out. So the benefit from that is that you can actually retrospectively update all your accessions with correct donor type, and then you can run reports on how much plant material have we got from, for example, a botanic garden versus commercial grower, those kind of things. That's the background. So this thing is a system task. People ask, what are these system tasks for? Well, there's something you hardly ever worry about, but if you do, this is one of them. So it's down here in the maintenance system task, and then you have donor type. So here you can then run that, and then we'll we could do it from one specific contact, as you can see, or just fill in if it hasn't been filled out before, etc. Those kind of things. So it's a kind of a nice place to do some retrospective data maintenance. If you suddenly need, we had one client or one garden who needed to run some extensive reports on this particular data, and it was quite a lot of hundreds of records, thousands that needed to be sort of cleaned up. So that's the way to do that. It doesn't create any noise for those who don't need it, so that's a good thing. A new report for permits. We don't need to say much about that, I think. And also a new report for tax stock reports, which I think is not so important. Or, well, it might be for those who need it, but it's not really worth spending minutes to talk about, I think, at the moment. It's quite self-explanatory. Moving on to this one, which is a bit interesting. So this is a question that's popped up occasionally, and I know that we have Christopher here online. He might be very interested about this. But so that is, what kind of plants did I grow in this part of the garden 2 years ago? That sounds like a sort of trivial question, but it's sort of technical perspective. It's not. It's a little bit more complicated. So. But now it's easy for you so now we have fixed it. Let's put it that way. And that means that you can run a report or a map and basically show what you have in the garden for a given time. So let's show you how that works. Let's do a map. Let's do a map first. So as you know, when you search, you basically search. When you record plants, you automatically build up your plant history. So you record it when it was planted, and then you moved it or you propagated it, and then you basically build up a history. And then, so most of the time when you use, you're more interested in what's going on today, not what happened 2 years ago. But to manage the historic aspect, we have then created something called history map, which will then take into account all the data from a historic perspective. And then the important question here is then, when do you want to for what type of which period? And I think personally that it's smarter to consider doing equal and give it from a specific point in time. So let's say 2 years ago. So if I do, or let's say 5 years ago. So let's say 1st of June 2010. The reason being that if you take it for a month, the plant could have changed its status in the middle of the month. So you will have, it was maybe died halfway in the month, for example. It died on if I did 1st of January to 1st of June till end of June, and it died in the 15th of June. I'm not 100% sure what will happen. Will it come up? I probably will. But anyway, this makes it easier to interpret the data in my mind. So now I'm basically saying, give me all the plants that were existing at this point, and then you can just click on that, and you can't see the map now because I have it on another screen. Wait a second. And then you have a map. So this can be really interesting if you want to. You can of course then ask for a period, give me all the plants that have grown in this particular spot for the last 10 years. So that's another story. That's another possibility. Then you will get the markers on top of each other and stuff like that. But so some of these may be dead now, but they were alive at that point. Yeah. Questions, Greg?
No, in fact, I just have mine called up, and I'm just running a quick report right now to see what it looks like. I haven't tried it yet.
Yep. So you can also then when you want to do this on reports, you under items, you have then the same thing here, items history, which will do, follow the same logic. For example, 1st of June 2009. And here I can do planting and, oops, not, I'm going to do, sorry, item status type again. And then I will get a report of everything that was alive. And you get then the information that was available or recorded at that given point, 1st of June 2009. Again, if you then ask for a period, you might get several records for a set. Some plants might come up several times if they changed within that period you ask. So that's a nice feature when you need it. Let's put it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think your holiday season is a bit ruined now, Greg, isn't it? Now you're going to look at do time travel in your records.
Well, I think I've told you before. I spend a lot of time when it's winter time and I'm stuck inside, going through old maps and old records of plants that were never put on the computer and adding them back in and saying where they were. So this, could come up useful if you wanted to see what the arboretum looked like on this, during this period of years or something like that.
Yeah, I would like to see that on Garden Explorer one day, so that you can do a time travel there with. Yeah.
It's like the Wayback Machine.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see. So that was a nice series. So you can basically use your data more actively when you need it. So we have then introduced the possibility to export custom attributes on these two reports here, yeah. And then we have introduced 3 new fields for propagation, quantity, failure, and comments. I'm going to show you that because it's the quantity thing is a bit. I think that's can be very relevant for you. So for those who record propagation, so when you record propagation, just start a new one, laser or something. Well, it doesn't matter. Items, planting, and then I'm starting a propagation here. So I'm saying. So there's typically those blue ones, preparing propagation. And then you will see down here on the right that we get some more fields for propagation. And the one thing that is interesting, I suppose, is so if you have a seed as a propagule, and then you start with 20. And then the amount you have is, of course, in this case, as we all know, number of specimens is then 20 as well. So you have number of specimens and the number of propagules. So the number of propagules you started with is now retained with the records over time. So that makes it easier to track the success ratio. Because when you keep on recording this, you have to then see what you started with. That was the story before. Now you have a bit of information there, and then also another one here. Why did it fail? That's sort of a self-populated list. So, whatever that might be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see us using that because right now we keep a note in the comments field about it's the wrong type of rootstock for a graft or mice ate the seeds or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's very. I mean, we're very careful adding these things, but the more the fields, the more complicated it becomes. But keep in mind that these fields are hidden when you're dealing with. If I'm now just working on the regular, if it's not propagation, they disappear. You will see that when so then they're not displayed for you. So you don't need to worry about that. And these fields are also available now on the new update on the mobile, by the way. So. There was failure. What was it? The failure comment as well, or was it just a comment? Sorry, propagation. Great. Yeah, no, it's a general propagation comment. Yeah, that was it. Instead of a comment here that, yeah. Okay. So for those of you who are uncertain about when will these fields appear, I will mention that straight away. So if I go to item status, you will see that it's all the statuses that have the context called propagation. That's when these fields come up. So yeah, great.
Yeah, I sort of added to the status fields there by all the ones that are propagation or are used for plants that are in the nursery or being grown at that stage. I preface all the codes with NUR for a nursery, so then I know which ones at a glance are used for the propagation fields.
Yeah, yeah. So you would have sort of like this, and you like that. No.
And then a colon and a space, and then those I can just press N, and it jumps to all the nursery nursery codes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Oh, I think I can hear someone asking a question, but the microphone is very low.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was just Kathy and Rebecca from Iroki. Hi, everyone.
Oh,
Hi.
hello.
We didn't have a question. We were just talking to each other.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. Okay. Well, come with them if you have them. Yeah. Okay. I know some of these. I think Greg and me in particular have a tendency to go deep dives very quickly on very specific topics, and then for people who are a bit new to Iris, it might sort of become a bit of a, what should we say, a geeky session at times. But this is sort of just to what should we say, humor the people who have asked for these specific, very detailed things that a good portion of you never need or don't use, but hopefully it doesn't sort of make it too confusing what we're going through here.
Yeah, so I'm like taking the new swimmer and making him jump off the deep end and swim to the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. So
we're still treading water.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. So don't despair. That's what I'm trying to say. This is also a new feature that's been introduced. Then some of you might find very interesting, and that is a bit more flexibility in the custom fields section, where you can have checkboxes. I think we talked about this at the last webinar, but I'll repeat it because the recording didn't work. So hopefully this recording will be better. So when you deal with custom attributes, custom fields, so in the trial version, for those of you who have that, you know that you can define them with certain data types, and that's well and good. What is nice with this new one, and I'm going to show you straight away, is that I'm going to add a new one in the trial version, which is called flowering season or something. And then I'm going to use the same list. There's a predefined drop-down list here that's called period, which is beginning of summer, end of summer, etc. You will see that in a second. Instead of then using code, I will use code multi. And this will be very clear to you very soon. So now, as you see, adding this custom field under the taxon. So I'm going here now. So I added that. And then what happens then if I'm now recording accessions? Oh no, sorry. If I'm working on the taxa, let's see. I'm just going to bring up any random taxa here. So you will see here on the custom fields. In the old days, if I wanted to do flowering period, I could do flowering from. early summer to flowering 2, and then autumn, for example, or fall if that's your preference. With this new one, I could do instead flowering season, and then say, okay, early summer, midsummer, late summer, autumn. So that gives you a bit more flexibility. That could also be used for, well, you can ponder away about the possibilities here. Anyway, so that is a bit more flexible in terms of how you record and how you search for it. Searching becomes easier, obviously, with this option as well. So yeah, there are sort of several benefits.
Havard, may I ask a question here?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
We wondered if we can customize, now that we're talking about customizing fields, if we can customize the IrisBG template to include information that we value, such as our special terminology, like the word conifers, for example. Because ultimately, we would like to be able to do a report or a search just to find all of the conifers in the garden.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. There are plenty of options to do that. Greg, you probably could elaborate.
Yeah, I use the life form field you see right there under description, where it says evergreen tree in this case. But let me go back to mine, and I've let me see how I have that customized here a little bit. Taxa details. Yeah, I have the term conifer ground cover and conifer shrub and conifer tree listed. So I can do a search which with the in list option, that all things that start with the term conifer, and that will come up as all the conifers, if it's a tree or a shrub or a ground cover form. So.
And Greg, sorry, Greg, did you manually add your own terminology in that field?
Yeah, that's in the code lists down there. You can access the life form code list and edit that to your heart's desire.
Okay.
Right there, life form.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you can go through those and add new ones. Delete the ones. Change the spellings from the European spellings on some of these.
Okay, great, thank you.
Maybe you could share your list, Greg. Is it very long? Is it like a super nerdy version that nobody wants, or is it sort of?
Let me see.
No, that was. I was trying to be funny without being funny. Sorry.
Yeah, it is very super nerdy. No, no, it's. I mean, I would be happy to. I don't know. It's basically just. It started off with your list basically, but I mean, annual aquatic herb has biennial short-lived herb, bulbs, conifer ground cover, conifer shrub, conifer tree, deciduous shrub, tree, vine, epiphyte, evergreen. Well, I mean, I could keep going, but ground cover, shrub, tree, vine. I use I mean, as herbaceous perennial as an option. Since we don't do as much with perennials, I don't really specify various types of perennials. They're all kind of the same. Then perennial, ground cover, and vine I do have separated out. So, but it's just whichever format your garden wants to sort plants by is whatever format you can use.
Yep, and that's
right.
the key point you come with, Greg, is that the point of keeping records is obviously also to answer questions about your collection. And then, do you, like you pointed out, Rebecca, as well, do you want to know about all your conifers? Then you need to somehow record it somewhere. So yeah, that's
right. Thank you so much. That's really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the good thing with Iris is most of these fields are customizable. With the code list, so you can really run through that and see if it makes sense to you, what fields that you feel are important to your, to your institution, add those to the code lists, the drop downs where they're appropriate, and just have fun. Get busy putting it in there.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, yeah. So that was the multi-checklist.
And I was going to mention something that I'm thinking about adding is we've had need in the past to know like the wildlife value, for example, of certain taxa. So is it good for bird food, wildlife food, different aspects like that, like roosting, different things like that. So you could do a code list for like wildlife use, and then have different options in there, and explain to them how if there's not a current, you have code list type, but so you start with a code list type to say wildlife uses, and then you go in and actually define the list in code lists. And this is the getting nerdy here. Everybody's getting nerdy. So you click new code list type, and then you go down to the wildlife uses that you just added, and then you can bees, birds, butterflies, whatever else you want to add to that list. And then last, so it's a 3-step. You have to say, okay, it's all wildlife uses, and then you would define what those uses are, and then finally you add your custom attribute of wildlife use that you can then pull those items out of your list to store with your taxon.
Oh.
So it's sort of see, there he goes, and that's the list we just built. So then when he goes in back to a taxon and pulls that up, you'll see the bees, birds, and the bee's knees, and all the things like that you want to have listed. And there you go.
Neat.
Yeah. So you can add your own code list types and then use them either in custom fields. Well, it's mostly for use in custom fields, because really there's no built-in drop downs on the screen to display something like that unless you add it as a custom attribute. Yep. Yeah, here's the different label types. Are you still there, or are you muted, Mr. Havard?
I'm muted. So
okay.
Sorry. Sorry for that.
I thought you were very quiet for some reason.
I was talking to myself for a minute or 20 seconds. I have this button that is just under my desk height, so if I lean forward, I'll mute myself. That's the problem. So it's or probably an advantage sometimes. I don't know. So the label handling is in Beruvia with a label 2 option. So I'll quickly show you what that means in practical terms. So when you work on the accessions, just going to bring one up just to have, and basically you say in the beginning, before we had just what kind of label do you have? So is it a large size, medium size, whatever? These are of course something you also manage yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we now have introduced label 2 as well, so that you can say, okay, what label do we have? How many? So this could be 1 or it could be 2 or whatever. And then whether that label is okay or not okay. And this drop-down list has also been customized, so you can change what kind of label status you might operate with.
Yes.
One sort of medium, like it's missing, or I don't know. That's up to you.
Yeah, I've added not needed as an option, because sometimes I like to know for a fact that I chose not to put a label on that plant.
I would have created a label type called not needed instead, but that's another question. So Anyway, okay, yeah. So that's yeah. I think some people will find this a very useful addition to the system. Yet another couple of fields, but hopefully.
As an example, as a practical example, we label virtually all of our plants with both an accession tag and a display label. The accession tag is an embossed metal tag that oftentimes hangs on the branch of the tree, and then we'll add a display label that is punched and actually wired to the same accession tag and is also hanging on the tree. So I can know whether it has an accession tag that's okay, a display tag that's okay. If one is missing, I can specify which one is missing. In the past, I would have to add a note like ACK tag missing and then find it later to to produce that tag.
Yeah, or I mean, some people do a lot of label inventory using tasks, so they could get around it that way as well by keeping track of what you're missing on as a separate list. But yes, we don't try to excuse the lateness of this edition, but it's there now, and it's also then obviously available on the mobile for those who use that. So
and just to add, you see how he has a 2 under the label type 1. If you go to make those labels, when you click the ellipsis box right there, it already has the number 2 in there. So once you merge it into Word, it makes 2 of the same label.
Yeah.
So instead of printing it twice or something, it already has 2 made. So some gardens like 2 labels on each plant. They'll put one on the north side, one on the south side, something like that. I know that's how the Bartlett Arboretum in North Carolina does it. We only use one. One tag of each kind on each plant on the north. So I know where to look for it, but it just depends on your policy.
Yeah, and you know where north is, which is also very.
Yeah, you just find where the tags are, and that's north.
Yeah. That's good to know when you're visiting your garden.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to have a big highway running down our eastern border. So if you hear the trucks going by, that's east.
Yeah. Okay. Fabulous. Greg, you're so helpful here. It's so great to sort of hear. Yeah, never mind. Fantastic. Okay, so that's label management even better. Okay, let's move on to the penultimate question or topic. Yeah, this is just a detail. For those who record wild collected material and receive data from different sources on different types of coordinates, it's just that we've added some more enhanced stuff to handle all these kind of formats. So hopefully it will be less of a hassle for those who work on that.
Just to expound on that a tad, I often run into trouble with different format conversion techniques. So sometimes I'll go on a website that takes the DMS styled coordinates, and I try to store everything in the decimal degrees, just because I don't have to worry about minutes and seconds and the degree symbols and stuff like that. It's just basically something point something. But trying to find where those actually are is sometimes a challenge. I will use Google Earth and type in the coordinate and see if that matches what the description says. But I've yet to use your updated algorithm to see if it actually makes it easier.
Yeah, let's try it and feedback if you. I mean, it's a quite a difficult topic, unfortunately. But for those, it's down here when you record localities and when you put in the original format here. So whatever that is, and then the format will be. We try to detect it, but you can fill it out as well if you know it's decimal degrees or whatever. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. And now the final new feature, which is I think some will love it and others don't care, but that's a go for a lot of these things.
I've been asking for this for years.
I know. So, for those, when you design your labels, you need to obviously put your template somewhere, your Word template. For those of you who are a bit new to Iris, I'm just going to show you quickly. Hold on. Give me a second. I will. So this is a bit cumbersome, but in your file structure, you have this where you install Iris. It comes Iris 3, and then there's a folder called Custom Templates. Up until now, that's where you need to add your own templates, which is a bit of a hassle if you're working in a with several people are going to run the templates, or if you are that's the
and that was on the C drive of each user's install.
Exactly. It needs to go all to every single person who's going to print a label, which can be a big problem. So so what we have done, which I will show you now, is for those who you want to transition to not having to worry about these templates being on your drive, you have to do what I'm going to do now for you. So this is important for those who want to switch over.
So, for example, just to explain the issue is, say I had it installed on mine, and I updated my template because the field was printing off the tag, for example. Well, to get that update on 7 different PCs that had Iris installed, I would have to go to each PC and then copy it from a network store where I had put that template so it could be accessed, and then put it in that folder on each user's PC that used that label. And knowing which user had which template and keeping that all straight was very confusing.
Yeah, we agree. I mean, so a lot of gardens, these printing labels is used of some gardens, and it's only done by one person. So, but still, good point. So this, when you work on labels, there's a good there's a video tutorial. Maybe I think it's quite good, but maybe anyway, it's a video tutorial about setting up labels and how to design it on our website. So I'm not going to go into details on how to do that. What I wanted to show you is, so when you set it up, you refer to a label file here. So I have one that I made here, which is a Graviograph label document, Word document. And this will then, when I use this label, it will look to see if I have this label template stored in the database. If it isn't there, then it will look at custom labels where you look, in the folder I showed you. So now, if I go to custom templates, this is the new screen that you haven't seen before. This is where you can add your template files so that they don't need to reside on your hard disk. I'm just going to add that one. Then I'm going to click here. Then I'm going to go here. And here's my template in the custom templates. Adding that one. And anything else?
Hello?
Just saving it. Hello. And that's it, really. Now I'm done. So now, when I run this, label types. When I run this now, it will find that we have this Graviograph 01 stored in the custom templates. So that's how it works. So now it will pick it from this database, and then you don't have to run out and install it on other machines, etc. And for those who have a multi-site setup, this makes a big difference with if you have data on the cloud and all that kind of stuff.
Can I ask a question about that, Havard?
Yes. Oh, hello, Christopher. Can you turn up your mic or something? It was very difficult to hear.
Is that better?
Oh, great. Yeah.
It's much better.
Is this just for labels or for reports as well, for custom reports?
It would definitely should work for reports as well when you have the template file here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I have both reports and labels on it, so I can verify that it does work.
Great, because our files are somewhere in a server in a city far, far away.
Well, with
and my users are even further apart. That's going to make life a lot easier. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yeah, we were thinking about you as well when we, you haven't rolled out to 400 sites yet, I think, but at that point, I think it will be quite difficult to manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also found it useful for cleaning up, because the folder with the templates was huge with some report that I made years ago that I've not used since. And I only started with adding the ones that I used, and each time I needed, so I basically I took all the reports out of my C drive folder. I had them stored elsewhere, but so if it couldn't find that report, it would say report not found or something. So then I could just go add it to the database reports as they were used. So I made sure it was only reports that I actively use.
The only thing that may be a bit clunky here is that the file name has to be matched. There's no drop down to select from the custom template file here, because you may have it on the folder as well. So that's the sort of what should we say, the price of having this kind of transitional functionality, so people can gradually switch over.
I just copy and paste the file name.
Yeah. But still, it could. Anyway, that's good. Happy to hear that people appreciated this one. Great. Okay, so I think we've managed to run through the list. Yep. The only thing I have to add, which I would like to just say at the end of this session, well, we have room for questions if there's any extra, but before I do that, I just wanted to. So we almost, but not, we're sort of 99 clients, I think, now globally. So we're hoping to pass 200 this year. We almost did it, but not 100%. So go to our website, and I'm just going to show you. So if you go to our website and see users, you will see that we have put a list there of recently joined on the top. So, and yesterday Cambridge joined us. So we got a new garden in Malaysia, Gothenburg. So a lot of the spread is now fantastic. I find it's really great. Hawaii, Gothenburg, Osnabrück in Germany, etc., etc. The Forestry Commission, then in Korea. So thank you. If you're not listening, thank you very much for put your trust in us. And at the bottom of this page, you can, when you're going on holiday, you can have a look at the map and see if you can visit some of our clients. I'm sure they will love to hear from you. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because it's great fun to see the growth.
And I invite you all to stop by Dawes if you're in Ohio. It's not quite the vacation capital of the world, but maybe you have family. But I'd be happy to host you and show you all that we have to offer.
Well, I was born in Ohio, so I would love to visit sometime.
Please, you're welcome. I enjoy it here. I was born here, so I just haven't left.
Very irritating that your name doesn't come up until you zoom a bit. Ranking becomes first, but anyway. Okay.
It's just on top. Yep.
Yes. Any questions from the audience that you would like us to talk about for the last few minutes?
Now, I know somebody has a question and they're just holding back.
Well, I'm brand new to this software. I just joined Iroki as the plant records manager, so I'm just quiet because I'm thinking. But I'm sure I'll have questions in the next session.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll pick. We'll have the. This is the only time we didn't have it on the first Thursday of the month, but we'll stick to the first Thursday of the month for next year, for the next 6 months, and we'll send out email to everybody who you basically don't need to sign up. You could just use the URL and just to join in, and off we go. So we'll try to be a bit more proactive with sending out reminders because you know I think there was one session where there was very few coming because I think people just forget and they're busy, whatever. So we'll see. We'll keep it going because there's always some people who find it useful. So that's
yeah. At least once, I think it was Justin Havard and I just chatting with chatting with each other for a while.
yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah.
Great. Can I just ask, is Christina there from Santa Fe?
Yep, she just said hi.
Hi. I just unmuted.
Oh, hi, Christina. I'm going to be there probably next spring, and I'd love to meet you.
Oh, absolutely. Just get in touch.
Sure, I'll email you.
Looks like we should add some sort of Google directions there so people can sort of.
Am I there? Woo! There it is.
There he is. There she is. Yeah.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be here. Springtime is pretty. It's nice here all year round. So.
What is your last name? What is your last name, Christina?
Salvador, and I'm
okay.
on the website. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Havard.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah. So another thing I want to mention also in terms of plans is we obviously will be at the APJ conference up at the Royal Botanic Garden in Canada in June, I think. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yep.
If you're planning, then you will see me there at least. So,
yeah, I'm usually always there too, so you can chat with me. And Christina is often there, so I have to give her props. She's young and smart and very enthusiastic. So.
Just like you, Greg.
Well, I'm not as young as I used to be, but.
That goes for most of us. But
That's true. That's a fact of life. You're not as young as you were yesterday.
Well. On that note, I think it's probably someone said to me. I saw it. I think it was on Facebook or something that there are about 7 religions to celebrate some sort of high point in the next month. So I don't know. I should maybe not say Happy Christmas or Happy anything apart from Happy New Year because that's more or less universal, I think. And
True.
And then look forward to seeing you next year. Hope you have a great December. That's probably good. And then thank you for joining us. And we'll send out the we'll send out the recording as soon as it's out there. Hopefully that will be before the end of the weekend. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yes, and thank you all for coming.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, that was so great.